Hello and welcome to the United Stand. A very quick reaction off the cuff. Memphis Depay will leave Manchester United for Lyon in France as predicted, as many of us knew, but it's there and it's done. And the reason I wanted to go live quickly, and do join us at 8:30 tonight where we're doing a Memphis Depay quits Manchester United Skype Goldbridge. You call in and have your say, because this is the reason I've gone live. I know, having tweeted over the last couple of weeks, there are still a lot of Manchester United fans who wanted this Memphis thing to work and who will be very, very disappointed by this. Personally, not disappointed. 2 managers, 2 years, failure. It hasn't quite worked out for him. But there is a regret. When we signed him, I was absolutely ecstatic, but I just think he wasted that opportunity. And I personally am quite tired of fans going, "Oh, he deserves a chance. He's not had a chance. He's not had a chance under Jose Mourinho. It's not fair under Jose Mourinho." I'm looking here because I'm trying to get some of the official bits for you. But yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair under Jose Mourinho. He's not had a chance, and he's not. But this is what it's all about. Training is your chance. Training is your chance, and it's not about if you're not doing it in training, you don't make it up to the first team as well. And I think that's where it's gone wrong for Memphis Depay, is that a lot of people expected, he's going to get a chance in the first team with Mourinho. And he certainly came out with the right words in the summer when he was saying things like, "Oh, you're going to see the real Memphis now. I had a bad year under Van Gaal, but it was very restrictive." And you know what? I agreed with him. I thought he was spot on right there. Definitely, it was restrictive under Louis Van Gaal. He wasn't getting that freedom, and everyone expected it to work out quite well for him. But still, the attitude, I believe, is the problem. And people say, "Oh, it's a myth about his attitude." We know, we've seen it with Fellaini, and I'm certainly not going to jump on the Fellaini bandwagon, and I'm certainly not going to have a go at him. But we know from Mourinho, from the horse's mouth, that this is a man in Marouane Fellaini whose effort and attitude is exemplary, and that's served him very well. He's in the team ahead of Schneidlin. He's outlasted him. He gets in the team over Schweinsteiger. But Memphis attitude, we heard it with Ryan Giggs last year, and I think ultimately that's what's going to be the issue with him. And his legacy is a bad one. He is a flop. We've got to accept that he's a flop. But I don't care about that. Fans will go, flop. How many of every club's had their flops. You take these risks. We were all excited about the deal at the time we bought him. There's always a risk when you buy somebody who's a flat track bully from a weaker league like Holland. And to be honest, I think Memphis will do well in Lyon. I think it's apart from PSG, there's a lot of teams that he can go and shine and have freedom there. It's a slower pace, and I think he'll do well, which is interesting because apparently Manchester United have inserted a buyback clause, and also we get a fee when he moves on. Because the thing is, because of his age, he's still only early 20s. If he goes and lights it up in Lyon for the next 18 months, a bigger club will come in for him. So very, very clever by Manchester United. I think we wanted to get about £20 million, and I believe, I will confirm this for you, I think it was around £16 million that we've got for him. So that's not too bad. But with a sell-on clause or a retraction, he could come back to Manchester United. We get first refusal. It is thought the fee is £16 million, rising to £21.7 million, with the add-ons including Lyon qualifying for the Champions League and Depay getting a new contract. United have also agreed buyback and sell-on clauses. So it's a fantastic deal again. And I just want to spend a second on that. It is actually absolutely superb. Absolutely superb from Jose Mourinho again. We've got a very, very good fee for Schneidlin, and now we've gone and got a very, very good fee for Memphis Depay. But how are you feeling? I've got my live comments up. I want to know what the general consensus is. My personal is that I'm happy. That he's left, because it just wasn't working out. Not even on the bench, not getting opportunities, and it was time for him to go. But I understand that some fans, as I said, they're not so happy about it. They feel that he's not really been given the opportunities. But I just think, understand what the bigger picture at Manchester United is, and the bigger picture at Manchester United is that it's not. It's like, I'm trying to think of an example. When we had Jemba or some other bad players that we've had at Manchester United, their chance doesn't come from being put in a first 11 for Manchester United. Being put in a first 11 for Manchester United is a privilege, and you've got to work your way into the team from the way you conduct yourself and the way you work in training. And everything we've heard is that in training he hasn't done that. And from basically, I said this probably about 18 months ago when he was under Van Gaal. My issue with Depay under Van Gaal, because that's where he played most of his games, was his inability to get his head up and his over ability to hold on to the ball. And also free kicks. He was brilliant at free kicks at PSV. And then that sort of went wrong as well, didn't it? Free kicks are not something that you should be bad at. You don't need to be in a lesser league to be bad at free kicks should be fine. But it's a dead ball. You should be able to do it. But he hasn't been able to do it. So very, very disappointed in Memphis. But he's only got himself to blame. We shouldn't be regretful as fans. The club shouldn't be regretful. It is regretful in the sense that I wish it had worked. And I think the signing was right. Liverpool wanted him at the time and he came to Manchester United. So it's just not worked out for him. Number 7 is now cursed, says Tony the United Stand. Praising Mourinho for transfers is just your way of not praising Woodward, says T3 Force. I don't really want to get into the Ed Woodward debate, but we've all experienced Ed Woodward for the last however many years. He's been here 3 years, and it's been car crash. Absolutely embarrassment. We bring Mourinho in, and suddenly we're at the top of the table in relation to selling players and bringing players in. Of course, Jose Mourinho is the reason that we've improved at transfers. It's got sod all to do with Ed Woodward. I think Ed Woodward will get better because he's learning from the master. But I can list off as long as my arm bad transfer dealings that Woodward has conducted, letting only was it 2 summers ago? It wasn't last summer, was it? Letting Raphael go for a bag of crisps to Lyon. Letting Van Persie go for nothing. We've let players go for peanuts on Woodward's watch. So of course I'm going to give Mourinho the credit for it. But a great, I think like Patrick 79 Abel says, great business for a flop for the last 2 seasons. And Dead Woodward says, Big Boy 786. He's learning. Alex did buy a Memphis shirt, Chad Ferrand. It all fits in. He's got a Martial one. He had a Falcao one. Di Maria. It all fits. Sander Sagers is joining late. What's happened? Well, Memphis is leaving. He's going to Lyon. But what I want to do is, I'm glad that we've reacted to this. He's going. It is a very good deal for us, £16 million. With an add-ons, it'll go up to 21.5, which is nearly what we bought him for. We've got a buyback clause in there as well. So if he did do really well, we've got first refusal. It's almost like a paid loan. Do I think he'll come back? That's a question I want to cover later. Do we think he'll come back? But at 8:30 tonight, proper studio. I've literally just got in, so I've gone live. Proper in the studio, Skype Goldbridge, and I want you lot Skyping in, telling me what you think about this Memphis deal. Because I know some of you are upset, and I empathise with that. And I know some of you are very happy, like me, and think it's the right thing for everybody. But essentially, there is a flip side to the coin. If you're disappointed, if he goes to Lyon and does very well, there's a buyback clause. We've got £16 million and first refusal if we want to buy him back. So it's not the end of the world. It's not, again, an absolutely brilliant insertion there. Buyback clause is key, says Jackie Baran. But what will be my lasting thoughts on Memphis Depay? I never thought he was going to be a world beater. I thought he had the potential to be that. Never ignited, never really did anything. He turned up against the pub team from Denmark, didn't he, around this time last year. And then the next game against Arsenal, he disappeared. A bit of a flat track bully. I think he'll do well in Lyon, but I don't know whether I'd ever want him back because there's question marks over his attitude. And let's not forget, he's quit Manchester United. That's why we're calling it Memphis Depay quits United. Jose Mourinho said that 2 months ago, like the start of November, Memphis said, I want to leave Manchester United. That is not the sort of player I want at Manchester United. Quitter, just because you can't get in the team. I had somebody tweet me today and said he never had a chance under Mourinho. He prefers Martial and Rashford. To which I replied quite simply, do you think Jose Mourinho is not going to pick a better player just because he prefers somebody's attitude? If Memphis has got the attitude right and he's the better player in training, he'd be wearing Manchester United number 7, playing for us week in, week out. Unfortunately, he's failed on both. But most importantly, whether you like the attitude thing or not, he's failed on ability, because if he was good enough and he was ripping it up in training, he'd be in the team. For 2 years, he hasn't done that. He struggled under Van Gaal and he struggled under Mourinho, and it's time for him to go. It's time for him to go for his career, the same as Schneiderlin. If he comes back, I'll be amazed, but if he comes back, he'll probably be coming back for the right reasons. But I'll always feel that Memphis Depay should never have been given the number 7 shirt. Abused it. Others have done that. Di Maria as well. Michael Owen. But he was given the keys to the kingdom, and sometimes I think we've got to revise our transfer strategy. It's all right dangling the number 7 shirt to someone like Griezmann, who I think is world class, but dangling it to somebody who's potentially world class. And let's not forget, you go back and watch the videos about Memphis Depay on the United stand, and the one thing we spoke about a negative was his attitude, and unfortunately that came to the fore. It was the only thing about him. We all thought he had the ability, but we were told that his attitude was a bit off. But you think coming to Manchester United, the status, the senior players there, they'll sort him out. And unfortunately they weren't. And as I said before, it wasn't that long ago, Ryan Giggs it was in the press that he was frustrated by his attitude. Maybe he's the new breed of footballer, the new breed, the Bentley driving, doesn't give a damn about anybody but themselves. But that's not what Manchester United is. Manchester United is a legacy, it's a religion, and you've got the club's bigger than you. The club's bigger than you. Look at Juan Mata, look at Ander Herrera, they get it. And that's why those players will always be held closer to the heart. But ultimately, I'm pleased with it. I think it's another great deal. And I heard Spurs today going on about how their net spend is £1 million. You've never won a title, lads. And also, our net spend for January is now up at nearly £45 million. 16 million for Memphis in the pocket. We'll probably get 21 for him eventually. And 22 so nearly at £40 million. We've not spent anything. Is Lindelof about to be done? But join me live at 8:30. Quick reaction to Memphis. Join me live at 8:30. Skype in, have your say. We'll talk about it more in depth. But for now, Memphis is history. Get commenting. Thanks for watching and see you at 8:30.